Welcome to Javid Radio, brought to you live by the Javid Media Group. Tonight's hosts, Avi Cyperstein, John Eisler, Blake, and world-renowned comedian Mike Fine.
Good evening and welcome to Javid Radio. We are streaming live courtesy of www.surrealradio.com. That is where we stream live from all our programs. Of course, the other way to listen in without tuning in online, if you'd like, you can listen through your cell phone or any other phone for that matter at 712-432-6553. Again, the number to listen in, this is not to call or text with any questions, is 712-432-6553. The number to call or text in with any questions tonight is 347-684-1155. Again, the number to call or text in with any questions tonight is 347-684-1155. I am your host, Avi Cyperstein. Tonight I am joined in the studio by my co-host, Blake. Blake, it's good to have you as always.
Of course. It's always nice to be back.
Of course. It's nice that we invite you back, and it's nice when you come.
Thank you so much.
All right, fantastic. Surrealradio.com is our production site. That's where you can go to listen to archives of previous programs. We've been on for close to 2 years, which is very exciting. And we are proud to announce that we have a great lineup of guests. We've been having some really interesting guests on the last couple of weeks. And
I'm about to have another.
We're about to have another. He's on the way here. He got a little stuck in traffic, but we have a very interesting topic for you tonight. It's about physical health. And, of course, once our guest arrives, we will get more in depth and hear about his life story and his challenge, his struggle, and where he's up to today. And I believe he's a source of inspiration to many, and he can be a source of inspiration to many, 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 many people. Unfortunately, Mike is not with us tonight. He got caught up somewhere, of course. You know, he's been semi-consistent lately, so we have to give him credit for that. And unfortunately, he's not with us tonight. But again, any questions or comments tonight during the show, we'd love to hear you. 347-684-1155. And, of course, if you'd like to join our email list, please send a text as well to 347-684-1155. And we'll add you to our email list. And the benefit of that is, of course, getting updates about upcoming shows, upcoming guests. And, of course, we do have some promotions planned in the next couple of months as we enter the new year and as we enter our second anniversary. Last year we gave out a bunch of gift cards to celebrate the month of our first year anniversary, and we plan to do the same as we enter our second anniversary, which is a big milestone for everyone here. It takes a lot to coordinate this program every week. It takes a lot as far as scheduling, getting guests, and covering topics. So, of course, we want to thank all of our listeners for helping us stay on the air, keeping us on the air, keeping it interesting. And for that, we will be offering some different gift cards and different promotions over the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that. Before we get into our program, of course, we're just going to delay a little time here until our guest gets into the studio.
I thought that's where you were going.
Yeah. So I'm proud to announce that Blake's Jerky, which we've talked about numerous times on this show, is actually an actual real operation. It's always been a real operation. It's always been something that we've taken Blake very seriously about, even though Blake himself cannot be taken seriously in general. But I'm just kidding. But
I'm okay with that.
we are very happy to announce and proud of Blake that he is actually he's in an actual production facility now, producing Blake's Jerky round the clock. For all different purposes. He has a website where you can buy Blake's Jerky online right now. It's going to be in stores soon. And just recently, he was involved with, he started hosting events. So last week, we had a bar mitzvah event, and there was a huge Blake's Jerky stand set up over there, which was very cool. And he actually sold out, or not sold out, but all the product that was ordered for the event literally went within 2 hours. We're talking about 15, 16 pounds of beef jerky were consumed that evening, and it was pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, that was actually, it was an extremely successful event. I was, I was nervous up to because most times you go to an event and they have like a sushi bar or something, and like the people there are making sushi, they're doing things, and I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Beef jerky is already pre-made. Like I didn't know what I was gonna do. And I went, and let me just say, I don't think I had a second, except for when I by mistake cut myself.
Except when
we're
it
not
cuts.
gonna talk about- But I don't think I don't think I had a second of spare time that entire event.
Which
I mean,
it was amazing. I was there at the bar mitzvah as a guest, and it was really nice to watch how people just kept coming back for more, and then people started requesting, bags to go, bags of beef jerky to go, and then people have been online ordering since then. So it's definitely been a big hit. And of course, if you want to see pictures, you can check out the Blake's Jerky Instagram page or Facebook page. So you can go to Facebook, check out, search for Blake's Jerky. And of course, you can go to the Instagram page, follow them on Instagram, Blake's Jerky, see all the different products that they have to offer, and check out some pictures from some of the events that he did. And of course, make sure you go online and order your bag of Blake's. Very exciting. In other good news, he also just recently got official kosher certification from the.
It was always kosher, but now we got a.
He was always
symbol to
kosher.
say.
He was always kosher, but now there's actually, certification and supervision the way it's supposed to be done by the Vada Rabbanim of Queens, which is really, really exciting, which is really great news, which means that you basically you have no excuse to go on and get Blake's Jerky right now, because if you're traveling this winter, if you're going to be going on a ski trip, if you're taking any flights for business, for pleasure, if you're going to work tomorrow and you need a snack during the day, take the healthy choice, get a bag of Blake's. And I believe he turns his deliveries and orders around very quickly. So get on the website, order it. Right now, shipping is still free of charge. I understand in the next few weeks they may have to start charging for shipping, but as of right now, if you order your Blake's right now online, shipping and delivery is free of charge. So make sure you take advantage of that special promotion right now and go to blakesjerky.com, order your bag of Blake's, 2 ounce, 4 ounce, all different shapes, sizes, flavors, and make sure you get your bag of Blake's now and tell your friends about it, because it's the new in thing. And it is definitely, I believe, and I've always been a beef jerky fan. I've been eating beef jerky for years, and I believe that this product is superb and far superior to the other jerky.
Everyone at the bar mitzvah would have to agree with you on that one, actually.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to say, it's been a while, a few weeks. Last week we were talking about aphasia, so I didn't have a lot of time to speak about what I read, about current events and stuff. And, this week I want to get this out quickly before we talk about physical activity or whatever,
Physical health.
Physical health. That's the word I was looking for. Now, I'm very excited to talk about physical health with him, because I know Avi and I have been doing our diet. So I'm losing my words now, but I'm excited to discuss with him over what he thinks in regards to our diet and how well we're keeping it, because I have not been very good lately.
I know you haven't, but I want to tell you, I haven't done a weigh-in, so I can't tell you exactly, if I've lost weight. But I know for a fact that I fit into one suit. I have a, by me, I always look at what suit did I used to fit in.
And now I don't. So when I was keeping it well, I was actually doing really, really well, and I was fitting it. Now I went to a Ufruf this week, bachelor party basically, and I couldn't fit in as well as I hoped. So I have not been doing well. I have not been doing well.
All right. Well, that definitely helps lead us into our topic about physical health, and we'd like to now officially welcome Izzy Weiss into the studio. He is here with us. Izzy, welcome to the program.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for inviting me out here. First of all, nice to meet you, Blake. Heard a lot of good things about you. Av is awesome. The man behind the beef jerky. Finally get to meet you. I hope the commercial looks...
Finally get to meet the guy in the commercial.
I get to meet the man with the beef, the man of the meat.
So actually, for our listeners, for those that are not aware, Blake, of course, is the founder, creator, and mastermind behind Blake's Jerky. And Izzy right here aside from being a very interesting, dynamic individual, has a fascinating and a wealth of information on tonight's topic, is actually, he's one of the spokespersons and the faces behind the soon-to-be released Blake's Jerky commercial series, which will be on YouTube, and we're going to be broadcasting that out through all various forms of social media. Some of the commercials are more entertaining. Some of them are more serious. We'll get to that in a moment. But Izzy has been the star in front of the camera as far as Blake's Jerky. And we're going to get to that very, 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 very soon. But before we do that, again, we wanted to welcome Izzy into the studio tonight. I know it wasn't easy for you to get here tonight, so thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me, Av. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And we can jump right in over here. So tonight's topic, as I have in front of me, is where, generally, the general topic is physical health, but more specifically, we're talking about physical health and making serious life commitments with bariatric surgery, which is, from what I understand, something that's very close to your heart. It's something that you know a lot about. It's something that you yourself have experienced. And we definitely want to hear everything from A to Z that can be covered in the short amount of time that we do have this program for tonight.
Well, it's a great segue. Thank you very much, first and foremost, guys, for inviting me down here. You said it best as far as from a passionate perspective. In terms of physical health, bariatric surgery is just one of the many methods and many ways a person can better themselves health-wise. But I'd also at the same time like to debunk the narrative or the false narrative that when one undergoes a bariatric procedure, they are automatically going to become the next Ryan Gosling or the next, whatever floats your boat, I suppose.
I mean, you are. Meaning you might be the exception to what you just said.
Well, I very much appreciate that. Flattery gets you everywhere, and 275 onto the train or the bus. It is tough on that end because when you're successful with something like that and you become the gold standard for it, people see you and they meet you and they say, "Wait a minute, if you've been able to achieve such results, I expect the same results in doing this particular procedure." Now, the problem with that is
yeah.
So basically, the problem or the issue is that if somebody's going to make that type of a commitment, and I know that in the mission statement or the initial when we discussed like what the topic was going to be about, it's more about adhering to rules and regulations that when you undergo a bariatric procedure, it's not just do the surgery, go back to living the same way that you lived before, and
it's a whole life change.
It's a complete life change, exactly. It's a complete life change. You have to change the way you eat, the way you exercise, just very simple things that you take for granted, like just walking to work instead of driving or taking the bus, waking up in the morning, having eggs, not having bread. Things like that are small choices that you have to make, and every single time you make that choice, it's going to affect you, as the days go on and turn into months and, and years, and it's really about maintaining health.
So basically, a guy who's not good at dieting in general, I know because Avi and I on this radio show, every week we tune in and we kind of say like how a week's been going, and for me, I had a good week or two, and then I'm like, you know what? I enjoy food too much, so that's not happening anymore. But so if a guy can't diet in general, then he's most probably not going to be successful on the diet because it basically comes down to self-control.
Well, I think what Izzy is going to talk about tonight is exactly some ideas on how people can focus on changing, and it's very difficult to change a habit, whether you want to call it a bad habit or. Especially when it comes to eating, we're used to eating certain things. We're used to eating in a certain way. Now, for many people who are, maybe slightly overweight or just a little bit overweight, it maybe doesn't affect them that much. But almost everybody that I know is trying to lose weight. Everyone that I know is trying to get more in shape or exercise more. And I think if we hear a little bit about Izzy's journey from where he's come from, that can be a major source of inspiration for others. And then, of course, I want to hear about some of the ideas or tips and tricks that Izzy uses on a daily basis to maintain this very strict lifestyle that he has to live right now. So, Izzy, tell us a little bit I know that we're catching you. I know that you're in the process right now of talking to some big firms across the country. You might actually be some kind of a national TV spokesperson. Not to get too into detail about what that is about, but I understand that you're on the cusp of some big opportunities where people might start seeing you everywhere on TV. And I'm glad that we were able to get you in here before anybody locked you down to a contract of some sort.
Not contractually obligated yet. Hopefully, soon enough, I will be. But even today, there was something that came up along those lines. I can't specify which hospital, the disclosure situation. But I've had various offers, actually locally within New York, to be the spokesperson for their bariatric program.
Izzy is very sought out because he is definitely one of the top success stories right now when it comes to bariatric surgery. And before we get into details about that, I just want to hear a little bit about your past, your struggle in the past, and what led you to the decision that you made, and how you are conducting your daily activities and your lifestyle today.
Well, it's not the kind of thing that can be summed up within the hour, and as you specified initially, we don't have a ton of time, so I will try to summarize as best that I can. What it comes down to, as far as eating, that I've experienced and that most of us experience, is it's really an emotional thing. If something happens to us in life, we turn to food. Food is kind of that go-to when, all right, something depressing just happened. I got to fill that void. What am I going to fill it with? Some people some people abuse drugs. Some people drink. Some people have other addictions. But the thing with food is that it's a necessity, and it's something that we have access to on a daily basis. Wherever we go, there is always food.
And we need food to live.
Yeah, you have to.
So essentially what you're saying is that it's almost, it becomes, food can be abused, basically.
Absolutely. It's a fallback option for anything. And if you can't get your hands on like I said, drugs or alcohol or other things to soften the blow of whatever emotional distress you're going through, food is that, you hear the term comfort food. You just go to the fridge. You can go to the corner store. You can go to the bodega. Whatever you need, if you need to get something into your system, food is always available. And unfortunately, the types of foods that we look for are not the types of foods we should be eating. So while it would be great to go to the store and say, hey, I'd like to buy a banana or an apple, not going to do that. I'm going to get a steak sandwich. I'm gonna buy, some bag of chips that's 400 calories. Things like that that are so easily accessible. And we just abuse it. And when I say
cheaper also.
Absolutely.
They're much cheaper.
Fast food. I mean, McDonald's, Burger King, all these fast food places, they make it so easy to just pull off the road. I want to get myself a burger, and that one burger leads to another burger, or, even on the kosher level, there's so many kosher fast food stores. It's so easy to get really bad food into your system on a daily basis.
It's with ease. There's no... You could just walk on in so many different places, in so many different, blocks, for instance. And we live in New York. I mean, over here we're in Queens. But even in Brooklyn, in the city, you walk a block. There's a McDonald's. There's a Burger King. There's a this store. There's a that store. Kosher, non-kosher. It doesn't matter. Food is always available to us. And along with that food is bad choices, because there is no such thing as a healthy choice in a place like this. It doesn't exist. As far as the way that I eat now, I cook most of my food. I cook my dinner. I cook my breakfast. My lunches I typically buy out, but it's typically protein-loaded food. Healthy choices, as I said.
Now, from a guy that eats out every lunch, I really shouldn't be, but I do, just because I don't have time. What do you order for lunch? Like you said, protein. You order like a steak salad type of idea?
No, I don't eat red meat. Now there is protein with that, but there's also fat associated with it. So if I'm looking for any type of a salad for lunch, I'm going to look there are two options for me. Some type of a chicken salad or even a salmon salad, like some type of a fish salad. Salmon is loaded with protein. It's very healthy. Chicken, lean protein, extremely healthy for the body. Those are the types of choices or options that I look for when, as in the past, it was I'm going to find the greasiest thing I can get to fill myself up. Right. And one thing I will tell you as far as food that you'll notice in dieting, even a week, 2 weeks in, after 2 weeks of not having anything greasy in your system, you eat something greasy, you feel it. You feel a difference in your body. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's it's like your body, you're trying to train your body to not accept the food, and your body, it's amazing how the body works, because after a couple of weeks you eat that greasy stuff and you feel it, you feel sick, you feel tired and weak. Cholent is a great example. You don't have cholent for a couple of weeks, you have it, how do you feel?
Oh, horrible.
Just brought down, you can't even move, and then you couple it with the alcohol, with the schnapps, and it's one big recipe for gastrointestinal Armageddon. That's what I call it. It's a terrible, terrible feeling. But it's again, it comes down to choices, and you'd mentioned like what you should eat for lunch, and I would definitely suggest something in the protein, something of a protein option.
So instead of a steak salad, you're talking more like a chicken salad.
I'd go chicken. I'd go salmon. Yeah, absolutely. It's a healthier choice. It's a better choice, and it's not greasy. Grilled chicken, for instance, not fried. The salmon. Do you enjoy salmon?
Yeah. I mean, I would most probably enjoy chicken, but I actually once had a grilled salmon that was really good, actually. So I might.
So if you can get that chopped up with a nice salad, I mean, you can't go wrong with it. You really can't.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your story. Tell us about where you came from, and take us to where you are today.
Well, in terms of where I allowed myself to go from a physical standpoint with the weight, as I initially said, that eating is, to me personally, it's an emotional thing. Approximately 10, 11 years ago, a friend of mine was extremely sick. He unfortunately passed away from cancer. He was very young, and that was a very deep emotional wound that I never allowed to heal. And the medication that I chose to try to heal that wound was food. At any given opportunity,
So
I would.
At what age was this?
He was 19. This is approximately 10 years ago, close to 11 years ago.
So you were also the same age.
I was the same age. We were very close. I was the same age, and he, like I said, he was very sick for about a year and a half, and he ended up passing after this.
And that obviously was traumatizing
Extremely.
on some level to you.
Right.
And that affected you on some level, and somehow you found comfort in food.
Absolutely. Food was my go-to. It didn't matter what it was. I can go out to any store, just pick up something, eat. I didn't really feel better anyway, but
it was on your mind. The death of your friend bothered you, and you'd be in the middle of a day, whatever it was that you were doing, whether you're in school, work, relaxing at home, and suddenly you said, I can't believe, you're still feeling the shock of the loss, and you just say, I'm just going to go get something to eat.
Absolutely. I have to fill this void. I don't care how I'm going to do it. I'm going to refrain from going the drug way, the alcohol way, and to me personally, I was like, wait a minute, I'm not doing drugs. I'm not drinking. I'm
Nothing
okay.
wrong.
Nothing wrong. I could go eat something greasy.
You
Doesn't matter.
You probably at that time did not even interpret that food obsession with a means of a way of coping.
Addiction, right?
You were just saying, I'm hungry. I'm stressed. I'm hungry, and it almost like became a natural way of thinking for you without you, like someone who, for example, let's say drugs or alcohol. Someone who uses drugs or alcohol might have a justification for what they're doing, but ultimately they know that what they're doing is wrong, and they might have a reason for why they're doing it. They might justify it in their mind and say, well, I'm really stressed. I'm going through a rough time. My friend just passed, or, I'm going through a breakup, or I'm having, a rough time in school and life. I'm going to drink. I'm going to go do whatever substance I'm going to use. And they might have a second thought before they do it and say, this might be wrong, but I don't care because I need this escape right now. For you, when it came to food, it was almost like, I'm stressed out, I got to eat something. But you didn't associate it in the same way that an addict might associate it. So it was much harder, really, probably, to even identify that. Yeah,
keyword is addiction, addict. People who, because you have to eat to live, because it is sustenance, it's not viewed as an addiction. And this is applicable to so many people, because we have to eat to live, but we don't understand the concept of portion control and choices. And food became my coping mechanism at that time. And I'm going to use the phrase, it ballooned out of control, pun intended. But as time went on, I stopped caring about the way that I looked. I stopped caring about how I carried myself when friends of mine were going out enjoying themselves, whether it was to lounges, clubs, singles events. I found myself saying, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to stay home. I'm going to be miserable because I just can't look in front of a mirror. I mean, at the end of the day, we could say, yeah, it's all about what a person is about inside, and that's very important. But we live, society is shallow as a whole. That's just what we are. It's about aesthetics. It's about the way you look. They say you look good, you feel good. If you're not looking good, you're not feeling good, and you're not feeling that vibe. So
it affected you socially as well.
Absolutely, and then that
now,
complex.
No,
sure.
Was that at the point where you, like you said, ballooned out of control, where you realized that you had put on that much weight, and you realized and you acknowledged that it was in fact affecting you socially? Was that even enough to help you stop?
No, that was not enough. That's the amazing thing about food, and even with the thoughts and just the overall beatdown that you take, it wasn't enough. And there were other various events that transpired in my life that led me to want to make an eventual change. But again, it was just coupling, just stuff kept on piling on. And there was one situation where I really wouldn't want to specify what it was, but it led me to stand in front of a mirror in my room. I took out my phone and I took a photo of what I looked like at that time, and I swore to myself that a year from that date, that picture, I'm going to take another photo and I'm going to be half the person that I was. And this particular photo...
Now, is there any event or particular incident that sparked that, or was it just you woke up one day?
Well, there was a specific incident, but I mean, it's not something I would say is very appropriate, but I will definitely say this. It was extremely embarrassing, and like I said, it put me in such a position where I had to stand up, I had to go in front of a mirror, I had to take a photo, and like I said, I will never, ever, ever take another picture of myself looking this way, and the next time that I take a photo in front of this mirror, I am going to look like a different person. I'm going to change what I have to change. And I have to say, I recently took another photo in front of that mirror. And I would definitely say there's a big difference. Definitely a big difference with it.
Now, I just a question. You said you started eating when your friend passed. Before that, were you always heavy, or you got extra heavy, or you were skinny and you just got really heavy?
I was thin. I was in shape. I was an athlete. I played ball. I was in leagues, football, basketball, baseball. So no, it became, like I said, it became a coping mechanism, and that's when I ballooned out of control. It's interesting though, when talking about emotional events. Today's actually November the 30th, 2015. 5 years ago today, a friend of mine, a friend of many, he was killed in a drunk driving accident. His name is Moshe Berkowitz. That also definitely affected the way that I ate and the way that I viewed things, and that kind of spiraled out of control. That definitely assisted in that, in my...
And the eating.
Yeah, definitely.
So just to get to the next step, so how did you end up at, now you realized you wanted to lose the weight, how did you end up at getting the surgery?
Well, basically what happened was I was told that there is this procedure called the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, which is a particular, it's called VSG. If you want to Google it, it's VSG. I mean, vertical sleeve gastrectomy is too long, and most people will not be able to spell it. I heard about it. I decided to check YouTube, because these days, I mean, that's got everything, all the information, whatever you need.
YouTube, that's it.
Whatever you need, baby. You want to see anything going on? Now, I don't recommend that you actually YouTube the actual procedure, because it's pretty heinous, the way that they go in there and cut your stomach. But when I looked into it and I saw there were results, the results were pretty good. They were pretty amazing. The amount of weight loss a person had been able to achieve, or people. It motivated me to look into it deeper. I found a surgeon that I found very comfortable with. I liked him because he was to the point. And we started off that, the process, whatever process it took to get there.
Now, before you looked into the surgery, did you try regular dieting, or you went straight to the surgery?
I did try a couple of different diets. Now, I obviously, the people can't see me with my fingers going like as if asterisk. Yeah, sure. I tried kicking a couple of foods. I tried, kicking a few things, and I kind of reverted back to it. And people will say, and this is It's unfortunate because I do agree with a lot of people in this sense. People say that going the route of surgery is a cop-out. It means that you have basically given up on everything, and that is the only thing that's going to help you. I felt that surgery was a kick that I needed in my rear because I would go through so much pain and so much agony, it would remind me of where I was and where I have to be. Right. So for me, it was that kick and that drive to get to a successful point in my life where I currently am right now.
Now, let me just interrupt you for a moment. We
Sure.
have John is one of our co-hosts who is unable to be in the studio. He's calling in from a remote location. John, are you there on the line with us? John, are you there with us?
I'm here, yes.
It's a little loud.
I got it now.
Okay. Yeah, John, you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Very loud, Blake. Okay, so
I'm feeling very left out. What did I miss?
okay.
A lot.
We're basically in the studio right now. You know, tonight's topic, we're talking about physical health with our buddy Izzy Weiss, who is in the process of becoming a national spokesperson for some bariatric procedure, education, information, etc. He's been telling us a little bit about his journey, and just to add to the last thing that was said, I think what we're going to do is he will add some pictures onto our Javid Radio website just to give people an idea of what what we're talking about over here. Izzy was a healthy young adult male, and he
And now he's an unhealthy adult female?
How did you know?
and he basically went through some stressful periods and found comfort in food, and that comfort in food led him to the point where he became severely overweight, to the point where it affected him socially and just from going out and from living life.
Okay.
So we're in the middle of hearing about the process that he went through from the time that he woke up one morning, looked in the mirror, and said, he took a picture of himself. He said, "This is not going to continue."
So that's sort of like when he hit rock bottom.
Exactly. Rock bottom. I could not have put it any better myself.
I hit rock bottom this morning.
Oh, God, tell me, what happened this morning to you?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So you had the surgery, like that band thing done, or the gastric bypass?
No, actually, it's the third procedure. It's always the third one's always a charm. It's called the sleeve, the gastric sleeve. There are different methods of bariatric surgery. Gastric bypass has been around for about 50 years. The band's been around for about 25, and the sleeve has been around for about 12.
What exactly is the sleeve?
Great question. The problem is people hear sleeve, they think that they're actually putting a sleeve into your stomach. But what essentially they're doing is the stomach has a reservoir. If I could best draw a diagram, it's kind of, I'm not even sure how to properly describe it, but basically what they're doing is they're cutting out approximately 80 to 85% of your actual stomach, and they're sealing it with staples, titanium staples. So it's creating a smaller pouch for your stomach. So the amount of food that you can ingest is on a much lesser level.
So it makes you feel much fuller really quick.
Exactly, precisely. It makes you feel fuller quicker.
So what's the, obviously we were born with a certain size stomach for a reason. What's the downside or medically the dangers of cutting out 80% of your stomach?
Great question.
There's got to be some sort of risk to that.
Absolutely. There are many risks. In fact, as far as I'll go as far as talking about death on the table, that is 4 deaths to every 1,000 procedures. So 1 in every 250, a person, could pass on the table. Now, granted, these people are morbidly obese. So when I say morbidly obese, I mean in the 500-pound range.
Meaning that they could have a heart attack and die pretty much any
They
time.
could bleed out. They could die. Anything can happen. Anything is possible because once you've reached that weight level, your body's already incomplete. It's out of whack.
So the risk at that point is well worth it because the
absolutely
risk of doing nothing is even greater.
Right, being stagnant and just continuing that that pitfall into weight gain will eventually kill you anyway. So that's kind of the view that myself and many others
So it's sort of like when you have Crohn's disease and they go in to do the surgery and they take out like
intestine
portion of your
right.
intestine.
Right. It's similar to that. I mean, obviously Crohn's is it's a horrible disease, and even when removing the intestine, it still doesn't cure you. A person can't be cured of Crohn's, really. I mean, there's
no, but it minimizes the effects,
right,
and
right,
the flare-ups.
Right, and I have friends who have had Crohn's. I have a friend who was undergoing some type of stem cell research, not even FDA approved, to try to help his Crohn's. And
Crohn's has actually become pretty common these days. It used to be fairly uncommon, and now I think I probably also know 7 or 8 people that have it that are friends, family, whatever. It's pretty common.
It is, as well as colitis, ulcerative colitis. I have friends that have that as well, and it's all in the same kind of range. But what the thing is that with Crohn's and with ulcerative colitis, with these issues, it's also about the foods that you put into your stomach, because certain foods can cause certain flare-ups.
Oh, sure, yeah, of course.
So like popcorn that I know of, I mean, that my friends, who have this issue, if they eat certain foods, they're on the floor, writhing in pain. And
right.
I ask him, why would you put yourself through that? And it tastes so damn good. I have to eat it, even though I'm going to be.
When was the last time we went to a movie without movie theater popcorn with extra butter?
Exactly. There's got to be extra butter.
Takes away the whole experience.
I completely agree with you. And unfortunately, though, people they just they have a thing for it, and they can't control themselves. And
it's the same thing where I say to my wife all the time. I go, every time we go to. I mean, listen, I am. Thank God. I mean, I'm not overweight. I'm somewhat in decent shape for my age, as is my wife. So we'll go to treat ourselves at Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, and pig out. And you look around, and the place is filled with obese people, and you say, what the hell are these people thinking? But just like you said, why it's either a lack of self-control or it's just a desire to enjoy themselves, just like everybody else. But there does come a certain point where I guess it's like when you have lung cancer, you just say, okay, I think I'm probably not going to smoke anymore because, maybe I can get cured and not have to deal with this.
Well, that's one aspect.
Rather than just keep smoking.
Right, that's the thing. It's like I'm not going to live anyway. It's incurable. I might as well just enjoy myself. I will tell you this, actually. I just read an article in one of the papers in regards to obesity and fat shaming. Apparently, in England, there is some type of an organization that was handing out cards in the subway station. They were just handing them out. Basically, they called them fat cards. They were just fat shaming people. And it actually, as I was on the train on the way here, I was reading it. Very, very interesting stuff. The whole fat shaming thing. And you mentioned something about seeing people in Dunkin' Donuts being obese. And I have to tell you, people ask me, they say, why are you where you are? What motivates you to stay in the shape that you're in? What motivates you to eat healthy and to go to the gym? And I answer very simply. We live in times where you're walking down the street and a majority of the people you're going to see are going to be obese. The fact of the matter is that we live in during times where people would rather just eat, enjoy themselves, and not worry about the consequences till later.
Well, it's not just that. I think the entire American population has been distorted somewhat with portion size.
Well,
so what we're eating, we're considering normal. Where in reality, I mean, even a bagel. You take a normal bagel. I think that's really a serving size is like a third of a bagel. But we'll eat a bagel or 2 bagels and not really think anything of it. You have like supersize your soda. It's really like a servings for 7, and you go and you drink the whole thing, a 32-ounce soda, whatever the hell people drink, or French fries or whatever. So it's sort of been pushed on us what a serving size and a portion is when it's really probably double or triple what we should be eating.
That is true. Portion size is very important when it comes to eating. I mean, it's not just about making healthy choices. It definitely is about what you are eating. And people, when a person goes to the grocery, I mean, I never imagined that I would be doing this. I always laughed at people years ago when I'd walk into, let's say, ShopRite, and I'd see somebody taking a box, turning it around, and reading the nutritional value, and I would stand there and just laugh. I'd be like, what are they doing? Do you like the taste of it? You buy it.
Wait, but
who cares?
You was a big fat guy.
I was waddling around. I walk in there. I'm like, all right, I'm getting the chips. I'm getting this. I'm getting that. What is this? What is this fool doing? And now today, I'm that guy who's standing there looking at the box, reading the sugar, the content, reading the calorie intake, reading all those things, the portion size, and I think back, and I even look around. I turn around and I say, Where is that fat guy? Where's that fat guy staring at me thinking I'm crazy and he's about to buy nachos or something? I expect him to be there.
And the truth of the matter is, so, a lot of it's also about education because a lot of people don't know. So, people were fighting, the food industry or the fast food industry was fighting that calorie count thing where, in New York, they wanted to post the number of calories that, a lot of the different foods that served at restaurants or takeout places had, put it on the menu, put it up on the board.
Right.
And the restaurant industry and fast food industry was fighting that tooth and nail because if people actually knew the calorie count and the amount of fat that was in what they were eating, they would walk away. And I'll give you an example. Even, I keep kosher, but, I'll eat fish out, let's say, right? So
no judgments.
I happen to love going to Friendly's for the ice cream, which the ice cream is kosher. But sometimes I would treat myself to like one of those fisherman jig sandwiches. I wouldn't get the cheese on it, but just the fish. And the calorie count on the menu was like 1,300 calories or something in that one little fish sandwich. You could eat two of them like nothing. That was the last time I ordered that fish sandwich. That was it.
I have to ask you two questions.
No clue. Had that not been on the menu, I would have just continued on ordering and not even thought twice about it.
Right, but the fact that you saw the calorie count. Now, the second question is it's a fish sandwich and it's from one of these places. So my assumption is gastrointestinal Armageddon was definitely on the menu after. There was no way that this sandwich didn't destroy you internally. So did you suffer?
Oh, I have a really high tolerance for food pain. No, it had no effect on me.
Wow. So cholent is definitely your jam.
I can go. I mean, we try not. There's at Friendly's, like I said, the ice cream is kosher. We usually just get it with we order plastic.
I'm a Heimish guy, I know.
Like that. So my wife and I, who are like giant food people, again, you wouldn't really notice from looking at us, but there's something on the menu called the giant crowd pleaser, which is I think it's
that can go many different ways.
Yeah, it's like 14 or 15 different scoops of ice cream with hot fudge and all the toppings on it. So we would just order that, me and her, and polish that off. It was like no big deal. But again, you look at the calorie count on it, and that was the last time we ordered that.
Well, you looked at the calorie count. I don't know. I see something like that. I just think one word, and that's diabetes. That's just the first thing I think when I see something with 58 different scoops.
Yeah. Well,
I think about it afterwards, not prior.
Yeah. Getting back to Izzy's journey over here. So Izzy made a decision.
Avi, you still here?
Yeah. Yes, I'm here, John.
Oh, okay.
So getting back to just Izzy's journey, so there was a point where he hit what we're going to call rock bottom, where he made that decision that he was not going to look in the mirror ever again and see the same person that he was looking at today. And what was the next step, Izzy? What was the first course of action that you did to start this challenge? We'll call it.
Well, the first part of it was finding a surgeon that I felt comfortable with. This is in the process, and there are so many different bariatric programs around New York.
You tried
around the country.
multiple diets.
Yes, I did try various diets.
Wait, before you even do the surgery, don't you have to go on that diet to try to
That is a great question.
Lose as much weight as possible first?
Well, that's the thing. It depends on how heavy you are, and it depends on your surgeon's rules and regulations. Different surgeons have different rules. My surgeon requested I go on a 2-week prior liquid diet. Now, most surgeons do not do that.
Well, let me ask you a
Sure.
question like this.
Wait, they don't have like general rules that are put out by the FDA or something?
No, it's at the discretion. It's at the discretion of the surgeon how he wants you to go about it.
So my question, again, you tried multiple diets. What do you think is the reason? Were you not able to maintain those diets on your own, or do you feel that they actually were not helping you?
It's a combination. I do believe more it was about the self-control thing, which is what led me to do the procedure.
Meaning you felt, I'm out of control here. I can go on a diet. It might last a week, but I really don't have this under control.
Exactly.
And I need to do something really drastic. Because for many people, like I know even myself, like as soon as I feel like I'm putting on a little bit of weight, I'll try to watch what I eat for a few weeks. I'll be a little bit more, I won't do the fast food thing. I'll try to stick to salads. I'll start to, try to take a little bread out of my diet. And, I might lose a couple pounds here and there. And then as soon as I'm comfortable, of course,
revert back to the old ways.
I'll
Exactly.
go have a slice of pizza. But
because the key is lifestyle change.
Right. But what I'm trying to understand is when Izzy made that decision, he looked in the mirror and he said, I need to make a lifestyle change. He's still the point that I'm trying. He's still struggled with being able to, on his own, maintain.
Well, of course, just because you make a decision to do something doesn't mean that decision is easy to implement.
Right,
which is at the point where you consulted with a
with a bariatric surgeon. Yes, I consulted with him, and I explained to him my situation and what I've been doing. And initially, I was considering a different procedure completely. He convinced me on this one because of my age and the ability to heal quickly.
I was about to ask that. What made you decide of this one over
The sleeve.
the other three?
Okay. The band has been around for approximately 20 plus years. I know many people that have gone with it, that have done it, and the problem with this procedure, and again, it's worked for many people. I'm not a surgeon. I'm not a doctor. I'm giving an opinion based on the people I've interacted with. The band allows you to open it and close it, which means the band is basically supposed to go around the esophagus, tighten it. This way it doesn't allow intake of a lot of food.
How do you open and close it? How do you?
It has there's a saline injection port that is located at the base, I believe, of the stomach. It sounds kind of freakish. But what they do is that they can insert saline, which tightens the band, and take saline out, which allows it to expand.
So it's not something you could do on your own, like at home.
You could do it, but you'll probably kill yourself if you do. It's recommended you go to a doctor for that.
All right, so it sounds like it might be worth the risk, but it might not. I got you.
Right. It's definitely not something that it's not something that I'd recommend or any normal surgeon would.
So let's say your friend has the band and you want to mess with him and loosen it up so he fattens up and stuff. Can you do that without him noticing?
That would be really interesting. I'd probably have to knock him unconscious and then go ahead with this entire thing. I think it's better to just prank him by sending like 40 pizzas to his house and making him eat all those 40 pizzas. Like we did in yeshiva, or get him.
Go for it anyway. You're right.
Yeah, for sure. He'd open up that thing and fresh all 40 of them. The animal. No, so the band is the people that I interacted with and I've spoken to. They said that they weren't successful with it because, again, there's still a lack of self-control because you still have the ability and the opportunity to change the way your body takes the food, and you could have the band loosened. I don't want that opportunity. I went into this with the sleeve, and in speaking with my surgeon, he convinced me that by doing this, I'm not going to want to revert to my old ways. To go through the pain of having a chunk, and when I say a chunk, I'm talking 80 to 85% of my stomach removed from my belly, to have something that is the size of a banana now. My stomach is the size of a banana. To go through that kind of pain for so long, why would somebody want to revert to their old ways? You just don't want to.
Don't you lose the ability to revert to your own ways? If you
that is another fallacy. Again, I'd like to debunk that as well.
You mean the stomach is elastic?
That is correct. A person can stretch it. It's been around for 12 years, and there are people that are able to beat it. People beat the procedure. People have beaten the bypass procedure.
So that essentially increases the health risk for that person.
Absolutely. In fact, by the way, when they remove the stomach,
can it explode at a certain point?
I don't think the stomach can explode, but what does happen is over time it does stretch out. Now, the thing about the stomach is that, and you asked this question before, what are the health risks? There are various hormones in the stomach. There are things that help you. There's vitamin D, there's vitamin C, there's iron. There are things that the body produces, and when you remove
enzymes that break down food.
So when you remove that part of your stomach, essentially, you're also removing the ability for the body to process the good parts of the intake.
That's correct. Certain enzymes are no longer there, and it's as if your stomach is starting over. It's not even like you're a baby at that point. You're on a lower level than a baby because a baby's stomach is developing, and it's going to have those enzymes. So you actually. One thing people don't realize is that you have to take various vitamins and minerals for the rest of your life. Every single day you have to take...
Are you totally restricted in the kind of foods you could eat? Like at the start
Absolute...
beech nut and Gerber baby food again?
I can eat anything that I want. This is the another common fallacy with this procedure.
No, but when you first get the procedure, are you restricted in what you could eat?
Yes, you are restricted in.
I'm not talking about quantity.
I know what you mean. In terms of texture, absolutely consistency. Right, because the stomach is healing. You obviously have to eat. Things that are mush, yogurt, applesauce, Jell-O.
Right, no, I wasn't kidding when I said Gerber and beech nut baby food. I mean
So basically, your surgeon put you on a 2-week strict liquid
diet, which I obviously kept to, and I'm going to explain the purpose in that. The purpose is that when they go in for a bariatric procedure, what the surgeon has to do is he has to lift the liver. Now, you've heard the term fatty liver.
Okay.
We all have a fatty
Right.
liver, especially if we eat certain meats and foods that create this. In going in a liquid diet, it shrinks the liver, which allows the surgeon to lift the liver and be able to do the surgery. Now, the beauty of this is that when the surgeon goes in, he can basically tell if you're going to be a guy that's going to stick to the rules or not. Because if he goes in for that surgery, the liver is still fatty. The surgeon already knows if you cannot handle a 2-week liquid diet beforehand, you're not going to be able to handle the after of the procedure and keep to it.
Right.
So the most beautiful thing the surgeon told my family when I came out of surgery, he said 2 things. He said, A, it was uneventful, which is great there from a surgeon, and B, my liver was as smooth as a baby's bottom, which meant that
Right.
it was just easy to lift, and it was I kept to the rules, and that when I heard this also, it motivated me more to stick to it, to stick to the diet that I'm on right now.
So the surgery is over. You are now, it's instant. You come out, you're a different person, basically.
Yeah.
You come out and you don't even recognize yourself in the mirror.
Well, that's the thing.
Wait. They did it internally. You still look the same externally in the beginning.
In the beginning, you're going to look the same, but the thing about it is that you as time goes on, I decided to take photos, and I called it the transformation, which is essentially what it is. The first obvious photo that when I came out of surgery, my sister made a joke to me or something, and I ended up flipping her the bird. And she took a picture, which is great because I have it. Of course, naturally, it's on my Instagram because I'm ever so classy. But it's a reminder, and every time I see it, I laugh, and I'm like, did I really do that? Because I was so doped up at that time. I mean, I was in a ton of pain. But I kept... I've taken pictures, through the journey just to see the different levels. And when I look at it, I'm amazed by it. And when people see it, they're like, how does the body go through such a transformation?
You know what, though? I've seen, if there are people that have had, famous people that have had, not necessarily the sleeve, I think more the gastric bypass, like Al Roker and the guy from Siskel and Ebert or whatever. And, the one thing that I noticed from them, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, they're both dead, so we know that, but not because of weight.
Besides that,
Too
because
soon.
they got a lot more time alive because they had these procedures done. But they seem to always look distorted, like their face and everything seems like a little weird looking, like plasticky and weird. Is that, am I crazy?
Disproportionate almost.
Right. Disproportionate. Great word, Av. No, basically, people, unfortunately, the body, depending on the age, the elasticity of the skin, things like that, they don't always shrink the way it's supposed to. In some cases, I like to call it bobblehead syndrome. Because
Right.
the head stays massive, the body thins out, and then if you tip the guy in the head, you feel like he's going to fall over, or his head is just going to bounce back and forth.
But you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. It doesn't look right, and I'm not gonna, I could use examples.
I'm not saying it to be funny.
No, you're being legit. Of course, it's because the body doesn't break down properly, the skin doesn't properly tighten, and they end up having rolls of fat, and they look like Jabba the Hutt.
And is that because they did it at a later age? It's
a combination of things, and it's not really easily explainable because every case is different. Everyone's body, your breakdown, your chemical break, everything. Everyone's different. So the way that your body.
Right.
Now, with what I had to do is I realized after a certain point that after reading stories online and hearing from people that I've met and testimonials, I decided I was going to go a certain course of action so that I avoid that. And thank God I can happily say that I don't have excess skin, and that after losing 135 pounds in 10 and a half months, I don't have those rolls of fat. I got lucky also.
You lost 135 pounds
135 pounds in 10 and a half months, yes. I went from 299.
More or less than you needed to, you still need.
That was nearly double.
Hit 300. You just had to stay at
299, baby. I stepped on that scale. I saw 299. I'm like, I am not cracking the threes. I'm not going to have that perfect bowling game.
So wait. So what did you weigh in the beginning? What do you weigh now?
Now I weigh 165 pounds, so it's technically 134. But I weighed 299 about 10 and a half months ago. January 7, 2015 is when I had the surgery.
Yeah.
So
you're pretty much
no. This is over the last 10 months.
You've lost enough and you're okay now?
Wow.
I've plateaued in my mind. I'm at this point in the gym doing weight training.
That's the next thing I wanted to ask you about. So following the procedure,
are you still trying to lose weight now? Or
absolutely not. I'm toning. I wanted to actually, my goal was 175. The doctor told me I'd probably hit about 200, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to hit 200. I'm going to crack 200, and I'm going to get down to 175. Hit the 175 and then drop a little bit more. So not too happy.
So you've lost everything you need to lose.
And then some, yes. I'm already. I'm
that's
about a
great.
year ahead of schedule.
Wow.
Cool.
So obviously that is the part that took like serious discipline on your end. So tell us about that. So you finish the procedure, you come out, you now suddenly have to make a tremendous lifestyle change to maintain and to continue losing the weight that you still need to lose in order for this to be continued to be considered a success. How did you do it, and what did you do, and what is a day in the life of Izzy look like today?
Well, today it's a little bit different than right after the surgery. Right after the surgery, obviously, I was still on liquids. I wasn't able to move around a lot. On a typical day like today, let's say I wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'll make breakfast. Breakfast for me today is 1 egg, a little bit of a cheese, maybe cottage cheese, a scoop of that, maybe like a mini salad, or if I can get something. I don't recommend it. I like the frozen vegetables, which aren't a great. They're not a great choice, but I'll have that.
Why are they not a good choice?
Because it's
not fresh.
Exactly. You want fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. It's not a great option, but it's not a terrible option. I would recommend that you go to the store, you pick out fresh tomatoes, cucumbers, avocado, things like that. Even avocado's a little bit on the fatty side. But that would be like my breakfast, and then immediately after that, I'm doing one of two things. I'm either waiting an hour because you're not supposed to exercise anyway.
Okay.
I'll do 100 push-ups. I'll do sets of planks. I'll do 3 1-minute sets
So
of planks.
after an hour, you'll have breakfast, and then you'll do a little bit.
I'll
of
do a
exercise.
little bit of exercise just to like warm the body up, get ready. So I'm about 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'll end up going to work. After work, depending on the schedule, depending on when I get out, I usually go to the gym.
Okay.
I do my weight training for about an hour. Every day is different. We go shoulders, back, the whole 9 yards.
So you have a strict diet and a strict exercise regimen.
Yes.
Wait a second. Where do you fit in like going to work?
Yeah, you see, that's the thing. No, I'm not unemployed, contrary to popular belief. No, so after I have breakfast and I do my exercise in the morning, I go to work, and I end typically 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I look to my gym partner who has been training for a long time, and he's maintained a very healthy lifestyle. I train with him, and that's just from the healthy end of it.
So we were talking about people, before, people and different types of, people who have issues with finding the motivation to maintain these different changes, to their lifestyle. My question is, are we there?
Yeah.
Okay.
We just don't have their headphones.
Can you make sure that we're in? My question is, when we were talking about before, people who try to make changes and then of course can't keep to them, what is it that helps you stay on track? What is it that motivates you?
That is a great question. It's everyday life. It's just walking out in the street. It's just seeing people. It's seeing what's going on in the world. It's seeing that how obesity is it's an epidemic. People say that certain diseases are an epidemic. When it comes down to food, when it comes down to just overall just an overall lifestyle, when you're walking around in the street, what do you see in front of you? You see large people. You see obese
when was
people.
the last
You
time-
see people that are huffing and puffing, walking up and down the street. You see people. Let's say you go to the mall.
So you find inspiration in others.
Exactly. When I see people who are obese, I don't see them. I see myself. I see where I was, what I used to be. And then I come back in my head and I say, wait a minute, I'm never going back to that. I will never go back to that. And that is what
so you
motivates
find
me.
inspiration in others.
Yes, I find inspiration
And
in
would
others.
you say that's the strongest motivating factor
Yes,
for you?
because it is all around you. It is every day. It is wherever you're going to go. Similar to food being a crutch, you will always see people that are morbidly obese. And that is something that if when you see people like that, and it's a mirror image of who you used to be, it makes you not want to go back there. That, to me, is the biggest motivating factor.
All you got to do is take a road trip out to middle America, go to like Hershey Park in Pennsylvania.
Don't even need that, my friend.
Look around there. The place is filled with obese people.
My friend, if you walk down the street in New York, if you walk down a street in the city, you're going to see the same exact thing. You don't even need to go to Hershey Park.
Out in the Midwest, it seems to be even worse. There's a lot more consumption of fried foods and saturated fat. The
Now,
Midwest is just
Izzy,
it's like
you mentioned that you have some kind of document, like almost like in a photo documentary on your Instagram page of your transformation. So for those that want to check out Izzy and follow Izzy and take a look at, again, just for inspirational purposes, you can check out Izzy's Instagram page at, what is it?
IzzDub85. That's IZZDUB85.
And we're gonna post that on our Facebook page and on our social media, so you can check that out. But definitely, get onto his Instagram page, follow him, IZZDUB85, and you will see some fascinating pictures documenting Izzy's change. And my question to you right now is, for those that are in a position that you were in, those that are either obese and even those that aren't, people that are just struggling to maintain an exercise regimen or to eat healthy, what advice would you give even someone like myself or Blake? Because we, thank God we're not in the position that you were in, where we felt like, oh God, this is it. I cannot bear another day of looking like this. But we want to be in shape and we want to be healthy. What advice and suggestions would you have for someone who just simply wants to go the extra step to stay healthy, to be in shape, and to maintain that lifestyle?
Well, it's about finding a happy medium. And what I would say is everybody has their own journey as far as, what they find works for them. Now, I could tell you what works for me. What works for me might not work for you, for Blake. It just might not do that. It might be too strict. It might not work for you. But the best advice that I could give anybody in losing weight, and by the way, I'd like to just establish, surgery is not the option. It's not the answer. If you can do it if you can do it in a healthy way, if you can do without it, if you can drop the weight by changing certain habits that you have, by all means do it. I'm not sitting here saying, check out my Instagram, see how much weight I've lost, and this is the way to go about it. Right. No. I took extreme measures. You don't have to do that. The three best things that I would tell you to do, if you can, number one is kick sugars. And when I say sugars, I mean empty calories, like sugary drinks. Very important. Soda, juices, these things do not exist. They should not exist in your diet. You should not drink it.
Are you talking about like even just grape juice and
grape juice has 34 grams of sugar per serving. Now,
yeah, but a lot of it is natural sugar.
I'm aware of that. A lot of it is natural sugar, but there is still sugar. There is still sugar in there. It's still a very high content sugary drink. As I said,
but you would draw a distinction between a grape juice and an orange juice versus
a bottle of Coca-Cola. Yes.
What do you drink every day?
I drink vitamin water zero. That is typically what I like. I drink coffee. I drink water. Coffee actually per serving is 5 calories if you don't add anything to it. If it's just standard coffee, it's 5 calories a cup.
And the vitamin water zero doesn't have like aspartame or other chemicals?
Contrary to popular belief, it does not have aspartame. It's got stevia.
What does it have? It has
stevia.
to have one of them.
It is a natural sweetener. You should look at it if you the next time you're in a store, check it up. There is no aspartame in it. Aspartame is not an option. And people say to me, wait a minute, why don't you drink Diet Snapple? I say no, because Diet Snapple is the poster child for aspartame. People think, wait,
right, exactly.
It's got no sugar,
wait,
I'm going to drink it.
What? Stevia, you said?
Stevia. Stevia is a very healthy, natural sweetener. You could actually buy it in the store. It's not
that I know. So how come all diet sodas and all those other drinks aren't made with that as opposed to the aspartame?
You know what? It is a great
Probably
question,
more expensive
and
or something.
that's a very good possibility. Thank God I'm not in the marketing department, or I don't create this stuff, so I don't know. I'm sure there is a reason for it. All I can tell you is as I said, there were a couple of rules that I would definitely adhere to. Empty calories, which you'll commonly hear are drinks. You want to avoid that. The second thing, which is almost as important, but it's not something that you always consume like you do with drinks, because you always need to drink, would be bread, white flour, because that stuff goes straight to the stomach. Example, Wonder Bread. Wonder Bread is the worst.
Not so wonderful.
It is not wonderful at all for the belly.
You're talking about white bread versus
Correct.
Like wheat bread.
Wheat bread, again, it's still bread. There is still some type of flour. It's not as bad. It's the lesser of two evils.
You need to have carbs in your diet, though.
That is correct.
So how do you supplement your carbohydrate?
Good question. I'm a fan of Melba toast. I like things like that. Melba toast crackers. I won't eat crackers
Beans.
that are things like that where you do get, like, I'm going to say healthy carbs, but it's not like bread. it's still a better option. Like I said, Melba toast. There are different. There's a kosher brand, I believe Lieber's makes them. They're in packages. They're roughly between 80 and 90 calories per packet. It's about six crackers per serving. And you can make mini sandwiches.
There are 5 crackers per serving, and there are 80 calories. I'm looking at the Lieber's
exactly
box.
Right. It's by the way, it's 5 to 6. It depends. Sometimes you get that. So it's 5 to 80. So you have a box of that in your house. It's about $3.79 a box.
I'm looking at the box right now. It's 5% saturated.
Is it original? Which one is it? Whole wheat, original, multigrain?
It just says Lieber's Snackers Cracklings or something.
No, you see, that's not Melba toast. That's a different. It's a different snack, but it is
the crackers. It says all
right,
crackers.
right. But it's the same. But it's the same concept. It's roughly five crackers per serving, which is 80 calories, and it's a healthy option.
And number 3.
And
it only
number
has 1
3.
gram of sugar in it.
Exactly, 1 gram of sugar is a beautiful thing. I have a rule as far as things that I'm going to eat, they cannot have more than 10 grams of sugar for it, or per
so
serving.
This box of Oreos that I'm looking at with
Oreos
sugar and 160 calories.
Yeah, that's your jam, baby. That's your jam. I recommend you fresh that stuff. That's the good stuff. That is the stuff you definitely want to eat.
I'm finish the box, but I won't buy
do
another
it. Just
one.
don't even feel bad about it. Just finish the box right now. Eat it. Just rub it all over your face like your Cookie Monster. Just get it all up in there. You know you love it. Are we talking about cookies still?
And number 3.
And number 3. I apologize. We got off track. Sorry, Av. Number 3. Number 3 is a killer. And it's applicable to us because we are Jewish. Shabbos foods. Shabbos foods are what?
Don't
Cholent.
take away my cholent.
Rebbe, I got to take away that cholent from you if it's going to be greasy and loaded with oil. You cannot eat it. I don't care if you have a scoop.
What if I don't put in the kishka? What if it's without kishka?
Look at you, no kishka. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna make something that's really horrible, and we're gonna lessen it ever so slightly. No, when you look at a cholent and you see all that grease and that nastiness and that fat, that is going straight to your arteries, straight to your gut. That's
so damn good.
Oh, I know it's so damn good, but you know what? I haven't had it in almost 11 months, and when I see it, I am repulsed by it. When I smell it, though. Yeah, when I smell it, I'm in heaven. When I smell fresh baked challah, I just want to shower in it.
The
See,
best.
he just exploded on air. Yeah, so these are things that you have to kick if you want.
No cholent, no kugel.
What you can do, like my wife does, when she makes cholent, she'll either use a vegetarian kishka or not put any kishka, but she won't use flanken in there. She'll use like a steak, like a shoulder steak or something very, very lean.
Delicious.
And the rest of it is just barley, beans, and things that really.
Question: Is there grease? Is there grease in that cholent? Answer.
Well, yeah, but
yes, and a foul. There is grease.
Have to eliminate the food. You can just modify the food so it's less bad and just eat it in moderation.
No, you should really just make that roast and then just have that instead of all that.
Delicious. Yes, you want to avoid grease, and that is what cholent brings to the table.
So cholent, kugel. So what kind of Shabbos foods would you supplement with?
Well, first of all, I'm going to have gefilte, but it's not made with sugar.
So
I know you bake
fish.
it. I'll have fish. I will have salmon if I can. As far as
chicken,
chicken is definitely the main course, and any Hamish house has some type of chicken with paprika. If you're Hungarian or whatever else, there's always the chicken with the paprika, with the salt, and all that garbage.
Of course,
right, and of course dessert.
You also do some work in catering.
Yes, that is a great thing to state, because unfortunately I do work in catering, and when I see
we know that food,
that's the bad stuff.
It's not good for you.
Trust me, that's the bad stuff. That's the kind of stuff that clogs the arteries.
So when you're doing an overnight gig, where you're entitled to eat, what do you do?
Yeah.
You bring along your snacklers.
Oh, it's tough, man. I've got a package of Melba toast in my pocket. If there's an Eruv present, obviously, because otherwise I can't carry it.
Or a bag of beef jerky.
Bag of beef jerky, Blake's beef jerky. By the way, the stuff really actually is good. And I've had plenty of different types of beef jerky. I'm a big fan of the teriyaki. Very good stuff. But back to the type of stuff that I am not eating at a Kiddush, which is everything at the Kiddush, especially the gala. And when I see people dig their hands in, I work in a Heimish part of Borough Park. So it's not just where you're eating with a fork and with a spoon. It's kind of like digging your claws into it and just like all over your face. That's kind of what I witness on every week.
But can I ask you a question?
Ask anything you'd like.
Because really, what you're implying is almost like abstinence from these foods, whereas there is the ability to indulge periodically in things that are not good for you, just because we're human, and why should we completely deprive ourselves from everything that might be delicious?
You know what?
So I understand, like, somebody like yourself that doesn't want to sort of slide back into, a pattern of the abyss like that. But those of us that never got to the point of obesity, that just live like a regular lifestyle, can we not eat these other foods just in moderation and have them modified so they're not as bad, like I was saying with the children before?
Well, that's the great thing about Avi's question. His question was, what do you do? What works for you? Now, and I said in the beginning, I said that what works for me might not work for anyone else, and what might work for you is modification of your current eating habits. For me,
listen, it's like someone that used to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day, and then they totally stopped, and they got it all out of the system, and then 5 years later, they went back to smoking, 1 cigarette every 2 or 3 days, and they can keep it just to that. And it's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, yeah, you should probably not have it, but it's, when you're doing something in that type of moderation, I would think it's okay.
Yeah, but once a week is already too much. I know in my house we stopped with the cholent only when we have guests. Now my mother did like rice and chickens in the crock pot so it's hot, or like we did a Yemenite soup one time.
What about Blake's beef jerky?
Well, that we
They
always
eat
have.
plenty of that.
Gotta have plenty of jerky, baby. 97% fat-free, low in sodium, no added preservatives, and guess what? It's kosher.
It's actually
Blake's
funny.
Blake's beef jerky we consider that to be a health food.
Yeah, it is. It's actually you were
like a
telling me that you
vegetable
don't eat
almost.
meat. You were telling me that you don't eat meat, red meat. I actually do make on special order. I do make turkey jerky, which is obviously much better.
If you're going to make turkey jerky, I'm going to be eating that, and I will happily market that product because
And
it
we
is the
actually,
good stuff.
we just got a request this week for salmon jerky.
Salmon
So stay
jerky.
tuned for that
Yeah.
product.
For
coming
what?
soon.
Salmon jerky?
Salmon jerky.
I have seen them before, but I'm not a big.
Sounds like it
fish
smells
fan.
delicious.
No, that sounds awful.
Yeah, it's awful. Imagine it's a hot summer day and there's a storefront and someone's hanging salmon jerky right out the door, and you just
No,
get a
that's
waft of that baby.
disgusting.
Delicious,
God.
delicious.
That's for someone who wants to modify their beef jerky eating habit.
And by the
There
way,
you go.
it's still no matter how bad it smells or how bad it tastes, it's still better than the fish sandwich that you ate at Friendly's.
There
So
you go.
yeah,
Thank you.
sorry, just had to drop that too soon.
Well, this
Hey,
is
hey, Blake, what about making veggie jerky?
You mean dried fruit?
I have
Gross.
No idea. I don't know.
well this is really all fascinating. Of course, we're so cut short for time over here. There's so much more that I want to ask you, and there's so much more that I feel like we can learn and that we can share with our listeners about healthy lifestyle, eating healthy, and of course even about your personal journey and experience. So we'd love to have you back on again sometime in the future. But for those that are listening that feel that that they have any questions that they want to ask Izzy directly, again, Izzy has been, I've heard his journey. I know him from before he made this step in life, and it's been amazing to see him be able to do it and to carry through and to maintain the lifestyle. So for those that are looking for advice or inspiration or just need someone to talk to about this, I believe Izzy is available.
Absolutely, always.
Or if you know someone, of course, that is struggling with obesity to the point where they might need need some form of surgery or some kind of intervention, definitely contact Izzy, and he is happy to give strength and inspiration and offer advice to those that need it. And if you have a family member or a friend that that could benefit from this, please contact Izzy. How do they get in touch?
Izzy
with you?
Weiss on Facebook, IZZWEISS, on Instagram, IZZDUB85. And just one more thing that I was able to get onto. This woman that I had met has a group on Facebook called the Gastric Sleeve group. It's actually pretty amazing. We have over 28,000 members, and there's just her and I that moderate this group, and we answer questions every single day.
Fantastic. What's the name of the group?
It is the Gastric Sleeve Support Group, and you can find it on Facebook. I will definitely tell you that we see a lot of different questions. If you want to find it exactly, it's under Gastric Sleeve Support page. Like I said, we have over 28,000 members. We answer questions daily, no matter what the question is. And because it's a support group, we post it on our wall. We have pictures, various pictures of success stories that we post every single
Real
day.
success stories, not
Real
Photoshop
success,
commercials.
Nothing. Real stuff. I actually am the one that posts the photos. I go through them on a daily basis, and I post them. And we have all different types of people that have made such serious, amazing changes in their
looking
lives.
at pictures right now.
We're
That's
showing right
amazing.
now. You're going to see. I mean, now, unfortunately, it's not loading, but there
We're
are so many
We're gonna
people.
include a link to the page when we post the link to the show. We're going to include a link to
Look
this
at that.
page.
How amazing is this? Look at that
Wow.
transformation.
That's amazing.
From it is a beautiful thing if you make it work for you. And again, my best advice to you is try and go about it without having to go through the procedure. But if you have exhausted all things and you need somebody to talk to, like I said again, my name is Izzy Weiss. I'd like to thank Blake, Avi, you, John, as well, for bringing me on. And till next time.
And we'd love to have you again. And again, stay tuned for the Blake's Jerky commercial series, and you'll get to see a bit more of Izzy Weiss. But again, get to our Facebook page, get to our Instagram page, and our Twitter feed for the Javid Radio Show, and we will have more information as well as pictures for you to see about our guest tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great night. We'll see you next week. Streaming live, www.surrealradio.com. That's SYREAL radio.com. That's where you can listen to archives of previous shows, and that's where we'll be streaming next week. And as always, Monday evenings from 8 to 9 p.m. Thank you so much for coming in.
You got it. Take care, guys.